So let's dive into the debate straight away. We say good evening to our guest joining us this evening, Dr. Seshadri Chari, Member, National Executive and Convenor, Foreign Affairs Cell of the BJP. Joining us from Delhi, Maroof Raza, Consulting Editor, Strategic Affairs. Joining us from Delhi, and Ambassador Parthasarthy, the former High Commissioner to Pakistan, also joining us from Delhi. And over from Pakistan, Air Vice Marshal Abid Rao, Defence Analyst, joining us from Karachi. Good evening, Air Vice Marshal Abid Rao. Dr. Ramesh Kumar Vankwani, Member of the National Assembly of the PMN, from Karachi with us, and Colonel Asad Mahmood, Senior Defence Analyst. This plan to destabilize India only exposes Pakistan. Their denial that we've got no official involvement, these are all non-state actors as to what is being happening in Kashmir, what problems are being fomented over in Pakistan, activated here in India. Now this shows that this is official state policy of Pakistan to interfere in India's business.
I think your thinking is very negative. The Pakistan motive is not this, that we destabilize to India. We want a good relation with India because in the history after partition we know the good relation between the two countries are necessary for all over the world. But I don't know why the India has do aggressive action like the LOC on fire on the LOC, and it will damage the whole Asia. So it's not a good thing that India is doing.
And where do these terrorists armed with AK-47s and grenades and bombs come from? Where is this entire fake currency route which is coming, which is suddenly those printing presses have gone silent because of the government's exercise of demonetization? Where does this come from? Why is it that Pakistan is more keen on destabilizing the establishment here in India? Why is it that you're continuing to foment trouble in Kashmir? And today, with this article that has come in Islamabad, in the Dawn newspaper, the article has come in the Dawn newspaper that this is Pakistan's official policy. How to destabilize India? How to attack the establishment here in India? How to meddle in India's business?
Kashmir is already... I think Kashmir is already Indian occupied. Kashmir is a disputed issue. So we can resolve this matter mutually within the talks. But we are fighting and we are disturbing, and
where is the terrorism emanating from? Air Vice Marshal Abid Rao. These statements sound very nice when you say them, but you don't mean them, sir. What is the actual action? Air Vice Marshal Abid Rao, is this an official declaration? Should we consider it that Pakistan officially says that everything that's happening is because of the state's involvement?
Actually, the problem is that there is so many involvement, like Al-Bushan involvement here, and so many other things. You have already seen that in Pakistan, in terrorism, there is outside from the outside border, there is involvement in endless,
and they all seem to have the state's backing. Colonel Asad Mahmood, I'm asking you again, sir. Is this official admission even before Sardar Aziz touches down in India? No one knows the kind of reception that he's going to get. I hope he also understands that it is in better sense that he doesn't come. But this further raises doubts about his visit and about Pakistan's intentions. You are trying to destabilize India, interfere in India's business. That's your obsession now. Your own country is going to tatters, is ridden with terrorists, but you are more bothered about how to destabilize the establishment here in India.
Okay, let it be very, very clear to the Indians that as far as Pakistan is concerned, Pakistan is not interested what all is happening in India, and neither Pakistan is there to destabilize India. And India is not that sort of a country that it is going to be destabilized from its neighbors. It should be very, very clear. Now, the point in question at the moment is, see, it's good about 138 days that your forces are committing atrocities in Indian-held Kashmir. Now, that is the issue which certainly is going to form the basis of whatever discussion.
It was just 3 days ago that we lost 3 soldiers. That can be said about Pakistan. There have been 286 ceasefire violations just since September 29th when the surgical strikes took place. Why are you looking at only the Indian side? Why don't you look at what the Pakistani army and their proxies are doing?
Okay, this is okay. No, listen to me and let me say something. No, since the BJP government is in power, they are mounted on an agenda that they are going to have no peace in this region. Let it be very, very clear to even all our Indian friends there in India that they did not vote to BJP to create some sort of tension in this region. But here you see that we feel that there is some extremism going on in the government, and all the time we see
Colonel Asad has always been from
That's
Pakistan.
absolute rubbish. That's absolute bunkum that you are saying, because the hand of friendship was extended by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He even made a stopover in Lahore. He went and visited the Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. The fact is, it's Pakistan whose civilian government is not in control of the situation. Let me get in Dr. Seshadri Chari before I go across to Air Vice Marshal Abid Rao. Dr. Seshadri Chari, how can the Pakistanis actually say that India is hell-bent on making this an issue of, disturbances and skirmishes with Pakistan, when it is India which took the first step forward, inviting the SAARC members for the swearing-in ceremony of the Prime Minister, and from then on several steps having been taken. The fact is, it's Pakistan that has belied the confidence India put in the Pakistani establishment.
Pakistan's behavior to India was the same as long as Dr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister. It was no different when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister. It was no different when I.K. Gujral was the Prime Minister. It was no different when Narasimhan Rao was the Prime Minister. It was no different when Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister. So it is not the government of India that is more important. What has become is the attitude of Pakistan, which has gradually hardened over a period of time. And now a time has come. There used to be a period when there used to be a debate in India whether a strong Pakistan is good for India or a weak Pakistan is good for India. So whenever there was a strong Pakistan, we used to think that it is because of the strength that they are behaving like this. And then when there was a weak Pakistan, we used to think they are behaving like this because it is weak. But now this has become the central characteristic of Pakistan, not to be friendly with India and to throw a spanner in whatever India does. So be it SAARC, be it BRICS, be it development, be it peace process, be it talks on Kashmir, be it talks about water distribution. On every issue, Pakistan wants to behave as if they are the spoiled child in this whole region. And over and above this, a strong attitude of trying to punish India for what they did in 1971 to Pakistan through long terror activities. So these are all have become the real characteristics and representative character of Pakistan. So in this respect, we would expect Pakistan also. See, we have problems with Sri Lanka also. Our fishermen are detained by them, their fishermen are detained by us. But there is no acrimony as far as Sri Lanka and India is concerned. There may be issues between India and Bangladesh, but we are prepared to work peacefully on progress. So if you think of Sri Lanka, if you think of Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, Myanmar, all these countries are willing to work as a team with India. Whereas Pakistan is the only country which wants to defy this rule, and therefore
Respond to that, Air Vice Marshal Abid Rao. Respond to that. That's the crux of the entire matter. And Abid Rao, the question really is that the fact that the Pakistan government now wants to have a committee to formulate a doable and sustainable policy involving Indians to push the narrative against India, and this committee will be headed by the Foreign Secretary himself, clearly shows that the state now wants to give government sanction for interfering into India's internal issues. How can India allow something like that? How can you have a dialogue process? How can you have a resolution of the Kashmir problem that you so often talk about when you're actually setting up a committee headed by the Foreign Secretary? Where can there be any diplomatic arrangements between India and Pakistan if this is the narrative that you want to spread in India by using, by interfering into India's own activities?
Your question is as long as Mr. Seshadri's comment. I have a lot of regard for him, but You see, when you miss out the truth somewhere in between historically, you go wrong. All these prime ministers that he mentioned, they have been good prime ministers for Pakistan, they have been bad prime ministers for Pakistan. And Indira Gandhi was not one of the good ones. The other Mr. Mr. Manmohan Singh was excellent, Mr. Vajpayee was excellent. But that is your choice. I don't want to debate that. India's propaganda machinery is very effective. I confess it right now. You can blow up a lie, which you are doing. You have said we have done 288 violations of ceasefire. Why don't you let a third agency verify that? Why are you telling lies to the world? We will refuse to accept what you are saying. You are violating the LOC. You are firing at our people. We are not responding because on the other side also are our Kashmiri brothers. If this was on international border, we would have told you what surgical strike is. You have been telling lies to your people. I understand that is your requirement. Surgical strike, your media does not know, your politicians don't know. They want to believe a fake thing. We have seen Mr. Modi for 3.5 years. His fate, I think, will be like Hitler. He would commit suicide. He would leave India broken, divided, occupied by somebody else. Tell him to read the history of Germany.
Air Vice Marshal Abid Rao.
He came
Air Vice Marshal Abid Rao,
with
as
your
loud
mandate.
as you are.
Listen to me, please. Listen
As
to me.
loud as you are, sir,
I
you're sounding
refuse
as
to
hollow.
let you.
You're sounding as hollow. Who refused to even take back their soldiers? Who refused to even take back their soldiers in 71? Who refused to even accept that it was their people in the Kargil conflict? Who refused to even accept that it is their people who are trying to perpetrate and who are being gunned down by our forces on our soil? Who refuses to accept that it is they who are training young minds to handle AK-47s rather than teaching them and rather than equipping them with a pen? It is Pakistan, sir. Who allows a designated terrorist by the United Nations to roam as a free citizen even on the streets of Lahore and Karachi and even organize rallies about 6 kilometers from the Wagah border? It is Pakistan. So it rings hollow, sir. Maroof Raza. 2008, 26/11 Mumbai attacks happened during a UPA term. 2013 beheadings of our soldiers happened during the UPA term. So this entire thing about governments changing and these differences all rings hollow, sir. It's just that, like Seshadri Chari said, Pakistan does not know what to do if it does not obsess about creating trouble in India. They just don't know. They can only think about that. And that's what stands exposed.
Oh, Anand, see, before I go on to the comments of Air Marshal Abid Rao and the other two distinguished guests from Pakistan, let me remind them that I recently read an essay by Syed Rifat Hussain, who's an eminent commentator of Pakistan, in a book edited by Malia Lodi called Pakistan. And the last chapter is on India, in which he has said there will be perennial problems between India and Pakistan because of Pakistan's obsession with 3 or 4 factors. The first factor is that Pakistan somehow cannot come to terms with the fallout of the partition. Secondly, Pakistan is obsessed with creating anti-India sentiment in Pakistan, more so playing to the galleries led by the armed forces and their public relation outfit, which they call ISPR. The third is Pakistan's obsession that somehow through force or otherwise they will resolve the Kashmir issue. Now let me take your mind to the subject which we should have been discussing. Sartaj Aziz's visit here to India. Sartaj Aziz is trying to kill 2 birds with the same stone. Whether we would have invited him or not, he would have still come to the Amritsar conference, not for talks with India. Pakistan's greater interest is in dominating Afghanistan, and this conference is about the Heart of Asia Conference on Afghanistan. And Pakistan, by absenting itself from that, would lose out the strategic space that it wants in Afghanistan. Air Marshal Rao and others will bear out that this is an obsession with Pakistan's military thinking to have a strategic depth in Afghanistan. The other point that we need to understand, and I was thinking with these new guests coming in, we would get a new narrative. But as has been established by everybody, there is virulent anti-India sentiment whether amongst politicians or military officers. The problem that Pakistan is not able to come to terms with, that how can you get India back onto the negotiating table with or without force, with or without use of terrorism or pointing fingers at India, and they say Manmohan Singh was good for India-Pakistan relations. With full respects to the decent gentleman that Mr. Manmohan Singh was, he appeared good for Pakistan precisely because he could never take a tough stand on Pakistan. They can't handle Modi and his decisive approach now. Even as Navika rightly brought out, Modi ji had spent a lot of his political capital for the first 2 years trying to build good relations with Pakistan. What did we get? We got betrayal at every stage. I can give them a long list of history where Pakistan has repeatedly betrayed the trust, starting with Zulfikar Bhutto, who said after the Shimla Accord to Indira Gandhi, "Bharosa kijiye, I will build relations with you." And he resigned. He tried to build his political capital, but when he became too big for his boots, then the colleagues of Abid Rao and others went and hanged him. And I used to have a lot of respect for Air Marshal Abid Rao. But I'm sorry, sir, I'm beginning to lose respect for you because you are saying what the ISI is asking you to say. Be honest and to your conscience and to your academic merit that give us a new narrative. Don't give us this about Kulbhushan Kharbanda. A Kulbhushan who went there is a one-off case. Even you have not been able to provide evidence against him except a doctored video. Look at the evidence we have against you in Kashmir. You are only wanting to speak to yourself in the mirror and want to believe your own argument. Nobody else in the world believes you. That's why everybody in the neighborhood has left you. Bangladesh has called you a sponsor of terror. Everybody else has abandoned you. Only 2 people are staying on with you. China, because it wants to use you to disturb the peace and growth of India, and the United States, which is a two-faced and Janus-faced country, which wants to use you for its own ends in Afghanistan. So give me something new, sir. Give me something new.
Absolutely, absolutely, Maroof, well said. Let me get in G. Parthasarthy in, former High Commissioner to Pakistan. Parthasarthy, the point really here is that on the Kashmir issue, Pakistan has tried everything in the book. From crying at various international fora, from taking it to the UNGA, from using it at every speech that Nawaz Sharif makes at the UNGA. But they've been rebuffed every time they've tried to internationalize this entire issue. Now, this countermeasure of trying to start an anti-India narrative against Prime Minister Narendra Modi, where does this stem from? Is it complete desperation on the part of Pakistan that they now want to put forth this narrative because they've lost out on every other international fora and have been completely isolated even within the region in SAARC, as we saw everybody boycotting the Islamabad conference?
Listen, let me, I think the Air Marshal knows, but let me tell my friend from PMLN that I've been a long time in Pakistan. I have known Mr. Nawaz Sharif from the days that he was a junior minister in Punjab in 1982. Right now, you have a problem. Mr. Nawaz, and let me tell you, I was High Commissioner during the coup, and your own members of the PMLN came and told me not to have anything to do with Musharraf because he was the one who was the mastermind of Kargil. So let's be real. I lived in your country. I know your guys. Right now you have a problem. You have a problem of a prime minister with constitutional power but no authority, and an army chief with no constitutional responsibility but power. Let us see this chief is going. Let us see if things change. But in the meantime, I want to make something completely clear. Amritsar is not going to be an India-Pakistan dialogue. It is Afghanistan, where we've poured in $2 billion and we are prepared to give more aid. We won the hearts and souls of the people of Afghanistan. That matters to us. Second, Mr. Sartaj Aziz may come here. He will be treated with the highest respect. But the only person we are going to talk to right now is the DGMO. Till the cross-border terrorism ends, there is going to be no dialogue. And we agreed in UFA that DGMOs will meet. But your DGMO did not come. He is now talked after all this surgical strike and various other things. And I'm not making any boasts as to who's right and who's wrong. So let's be clear. If you want to escalate and if infiltration continues, there will be escalation to the level it was before the ceasefire in 2003. I'm being blunt with this. So this is it. We have got our other neighbors to go ahead with, and we are going ahead with. SARC is over because nothing is moved, and we'll deal with our other neighbors in a friendly manner. Afghanistan, please believe me, go and tell the bazaar in Kandahar or in Herat or in Kabul that you're a Pakistan military officer, they'll lynch you. So I've been there several times, so don't tell me. Now, Pakistan will have to make up its mind. Do you want to live at peace with your neighbors? The Iranians tell us the same thing, that you're playing games on the border. So let us be very clear, we are not in a hurry.
Right.
And let me tell you, Mr. Modi spent a lot of political capital. He went and almost, paid respects to Mr. Nawaz Sharif's father. What did we get in response? Pathankot. So if you think Mr. Modi, just a minute. If you think Mr. Modi after that is going to keep quiet, then I'm afraid not. And as for just one last point. As for Kashmir and violence there, everybody has violence every now in some parts of the country. You had it in Balochistan.
Absolutely.
Ever since independence.
Absolutely. Why don't you
And
look
we haven't
at your
taken
own
advantage of
domestic territory? Why don't you look at Balochistan?
And now you're fighting the
Why don't
Pashtuns.
you look at terror factories in your own land? Why are you obsessing with Kashmir and India and starting a narrative against India, Air Vice Marshal Abid Rao?
Navika,
Because
Navika.
cross-border terrorism applies to you also.
may I make
You
a
are
quick
sending
point?
terrorists to Pakistan since 1986. Sarbjit was the first guy who got caught here after he had exploded 3 bombs. Then there was Rampal. Then there is
You never called him a terrorist, you called him a spy. You never
You
They
are
were
a
terrorists.
spy.
They were
Was
not
he a spy
spies.
or a terrorist?
They were
Please
terrorists
decide.
because they caused explosions. When Sarbjit, it is the weakness of our government that he was convicted in 91 but kept in jail till 2 years back when somebody killed him there. He should have been hanged in 1991, soon after that. The question is, you are sending terrorists here and you are trying to show a very innocent face. You are the biggest terrorist. You send terrorists to Bangladesh, you send terrorists to Nepal and to Sri Lanka.
Vice Marshal Abid Rao,
They will tell
the
you.
only
You tell
place
me
where
to
there
go
is
to
conflict
Balochistan.
happening,
or
the
Kabul.
only place
And
where
I'll
we are
make it
having
clear.
trouble
Maroof, will
is
anybody
the,
believe Air
Sri
Vice
Lanka
Marshal
is
Abid Rao
with
is
Pakistan.
sending in
Having
terrorists?
He's with
Mr.
Is that
Pakistan.
the
That's
narrative
the
your
only
world
place where
believes?
this is
How do
happening.
you respond to that?
Yes,
So
Maroof.
Bangladeshis hate you.
Maroof
Maroof,
Raza,
Sri
respond
Lankans
to Air
hated
Vice
you.
Marshal
I
Abid
don't know
Rao.
what is the state now.
Anand,
I'm talking fact.
Let me tell you something. That if you say that we are the ones who are sponsoring terror activities in Pakistan, now your entire, let me give you three points. Point 1, Balochistan. The whole Pakistani narrative has largely emerged on Balochistan after an American academic wrote an article in the Foreign Affairs Journal in which she also said that Pakistanis lie so much that I can't believe them when they even tell me the truth. But anyway, she made some assertions about Indian consulates in Afghanistan who are probably arming some Baluchi rebels. But your security must be very weak if camel loads of AK-47s can come into the heart of Pakistan, because Bukti and other areas where there is an insurgency is in the center of Pakistan, and they come undetected just like the American helicopters came to pick up Bin Laden from under your noses. The second point I wish to make to you, sir, that you say we are sponsoring insurgency in Balochistan. Assuming we are doing that, but that is only 10 to 12 years ago since we started making the allegations. Your Baluch problem started in 1948. Hear what the Khan of Kalat has to say. Hear what Khairbaksh Mari has to say. Hear what other tribal leaders have to say. And I'm not even counting your human rights abusers. I'm just saying hear what their own tribal leaders say. And as Mr. Parthasarthy has sometime quoted on this channel, that your political leaders from there like Achakzai and others have even said that Pakhtunistan runs close very much into the heart of Balochistan, and there is a vociferous war that is happening within. I also want to quote another figure. Do you know Pakistan today, and it's very sad to know that, has as many armed people roaming the streets with AK-47s as your army is there. So you have to concentrate your energies on battling your threats within. Why are you lecturing us on Kashmir? आप अपने घर को सुधारिए, sir. First, sort out your own home. With the exception of Punjab,
where the elite lives out of handouts given by the Punjab government as available on the internet. Shahbaz Sharif government gives them murid ke charity. Why don't you tell me that any other part of Pakistan is relatively stable? हमारे यहाँ तो प्रॉब्लम आपने करी रखी है, but at least sort out your own home. Don't lecture us about terrorism. If you lecture us on terrorism, how is it Hafiz Saeed? Then the JEM leaders, so many other terrorists are on the UN wanted list.
That's the point.
If
Have
we
they
are
given up on
sponsoring terror,
Pakistan already?
How are they sitting in your home?
Point is, this is the point
How are
that
they sitting in your home, damn it?
they refuse to acknowledge कि उनसे पाकिस्तान नहीं संभल रहा, उनका ध्यान इंडिया पे बटा हुआ है. Colonel Asad, you've been listening. This is what is happening around you, sir.
Okay. I have listened to Mr. Maroof. Let it be very, very clear to all the Indians. Whatever the problem at the moment is going on, it is to divert the attention, the problem which is being faced by the India in Indian held Kashmir. Then there is extremism in complete India that is very, very important, and that is the reason that the LOC
Colonel
and
Asad,
the working boundary.
sometimes it's
so
nice.
Many things going
It's
on.
nice to look into the mirror.
Listen to me.
It's nice to look into the mirror sometimes. How about if I say whatever is happening right now is to divert attention from what problems Mr. Nawaz Sharif is facing? What problems you are facing back home with Balochistan, Pakhtunistan and other regions? What problems you want to hide in terms of the way minorities, Shias are being persecuted all across in Pakistan? How is it that a certain lot of Punjabis want to dictate terms to the rest of Pakistan? You're trying to ignore all of this, shield all of this, and let's just escalate Kashmir and tell the world we are only doing this for Kashmir. Why don't you look into the mirror and answer these questions?
No, listen to me. No, this is my turn and let me speak.
Go ahead.
We understand how we are managing Pakistan. We understand how to run the country. We have no problem internally. If there is a problem, it is because of India. The way India is interfering in Pakistan matters. You remember Kalbochan Yadav? He was your person.
Tell me something new, Colonel Saab. Tell me something new.
Asad Mahmood, it's laughable. The world is talking about terror exported from Pakistan. The world is talking about it. The United States, when you went to them, actually rebuffed you.
Yes.
The normal
said that sort out the terrorism in your own backyard.
Navika, I want to ask the Colonel. Navika, I want to ask the Colonel a question. I want to ask the Colonel a question.
To sort out terrorism in your own backyard.
I want to ask the Colonel a question.
Have some heart to listen what we are trying to convey. Now, all the problem in this
Maroof Raza wants to
region
go in first.
I want to ask you a question.
You were the one who were interfering in Sri Lanka,
Colonel Saab, I want to ask you a question.
Asad Mahmood,
and even with Bangladesh.
एक क्वेश्चन का आप एक सवाल का जवाब
whatever Pakistan
Asad, please hear him out.
Colonel साहब एक सवाल का जवाब दीजिए.
Colonel Asad Mahmood, Colonel Asad Mahmood, मारूफ का सवाल सुन लीजिए. कर्नल असद महमूद मारूफ साहब का सवाल सुन लीजिए, उसके बाद जवाब दीजिए. उत्तेजित
कर्नल साहब,
मैं बिल्कुल सवाल सुनूंगा, but you know when I am talking to at least listen to me. Yes, I will listen. I have listen. I have lot of respect for Mr. Maroof.
Dr. Vankwani
and
coming
all
to you.
those
Please wait.
panelists. I would certainly listen. Yeah.
Maroof.
Yes, I am ready to reply. I will listen his question.
Colonel Saab, may I request for your indulgence? Colonel Saab, may I request your indulgence? I want to ask you one simple question. If all your problems are created by India, Colonel Saab, if all your problems are created by India, why did your army launch such a massive military operation called Zarb-e-Azab in your frontier region and Waziristan? Did we create that problem also?
Mr. Maroof, Zarb-e-Azab operation was conducted and still it is on because your people, your state actors are behind all these insurgents are ye Taliban. They are the one who are being funded by you. They are the one जो अपने सारे पड़ोसी ममालिक के अंदर आप शरारत करते हैं.
At the top of the debate, this is what we told you, that you are just obsessed that anything and everything which is a problem in Pakistan has to be done. It's only India. You can only, everything has to be attributed to India. That's your obsession. That's where you're stuck.
Colonel Saab.
Maroof, I just want to bring the politician from Pakistan into the mix. Maroof, if you would allow me, let's just bring in Dr. Ramesh Kumar Vankwani. Can he say anything different from the servicemen? Let's just see if the politician in the mix from Pakistan says anything different from the servicemen. Dr. Ramesh Kumar, are you also stuck in the same? Are you also stuck in this? Are you also stuck in the same maze and the same mirage where everything that you look is only about India? Is all attributed only to India. Colonel Asad, एक second. Colonel Asad, please. I'm just bringing in.
Can I just rebut his point?
आपके ही colleague को मैं ला रहा हूँ. मैं उनको वापस
Can I just rebut his point?
उनकी भी बात सुन ले. इस सवाल का जवाब वो क्या देते हैं वो भी हम भी सुन ले. Yes, Dr. Ramesh Kumar. Dr. Ramesh Kumar. Yes.
आप जब बात सुनेंगे नहीं तो how can
I don't want. What is the atmosphere you have adopted here? First you know the etiquettes. What are the etiquettes? Everybody is talking like that.
Now only you are speaking. Now only you are speaking.
It is this not.
Now only you are speaking.
Take my two minutes. I want only 2 minutes. I want to give a message to hold the nation of India and hold the nation of Pakistan.
Yes.
I think India is in a great big mistake. The LOC violating, it is a very big mistake. If there is involvement in India is blaming to Pakistan and Pakistan is blaming to India. If there is a problem, we can sit and we can resolve all the problems. But by the sitting, by the talking, by the
we cannot.
Dr. Ramesh Kumar,
why we are
when
fighting?
ceasefire violations take place, Dr. Ramesh Kumar, when ceasefire violations take place, it is the Director Generals of Military Operations who talk to each other. Right now, we have seen 286 violations and shelling incidents of ceasefire since September 29. So the DGMO spoke yesterday and a strong message has been conveyed. In fact, 8 of our civilians were killed just on November 1st, including a 7-year-old child, a 19-year-old woman.
Okay,
These are the civilians who are dying.
I catch your
the narrative is everything is all right.
I catch your question.
I have trouble. What about the problems in their own backyard?
Please listen my answer. Please listen my answer. Please, this is not the way that you are asking.
Go right ahead.
Problem is that if you are blaming on Pakistan, that Pakistan is violating, we can
make another effort to try and convince us about his point of view.
Why we are fighting on the channels?
Boliye, what's your point of view?
This is not the way that you are fighting on the TV channel. Even we are sitting here, you are not listening, you are blocking our voice. How we can... I think it is very wrong. It is very...
Have I disturbed you?
If there is any problem between the two countries, we want good relation between the neighboring countries. India and Pakistan are the neighboring country. Bangladesh is the neighboring country. We want good business relation. We don't want fight. But this is not our weakness. We know that the good relation between the India and Pakistan, it will be better for the world. And why we are expending so many
ideas? But good relations don't happen one-sided.
We can sit the people of Pakistan and India.
So far we've seen India making all the efforts. We haven't seen any reciprocation from Pakistan. Parthasarthy,
India is not making any effort to have no relations with Pakistan. It should be very clear.
I know the ground situation of India. I know the ground situation.
Dr. Will you hear out Ambassador Parthasarthy and also Seshadri Chari, please, Ambassador Parthasarthy?
मैंने आपको इंटरप्ट नहीं किया.
Yes, Ambassador.
बात तो सुन लीजिए. आपके मुल्क में 5.5 साल रह चुका हूं मैं. And I have many friends in your country. The fact of the matter is, this is not just India. I've just come back from the United States. I've been talking to the Europeans. The fact of the matter is, if Osama bin Laden, he spends 11 years in your country, produces 4 babies, has 4 wives, lives next to the military academy, and you say you don't know. You don't know. Just a minute.
If there was a problem,
just a minute.
Complete.
Let him make the point.
देखिए ये तो गुस्ताखी है. आप मुझे बात नहीं करने देते. मैंने तो आपको इंटरप्ट नहीं किया. So look at how the world looks at you. The European Union. You know, after Uri, even the Saudis and the UAE expressed their solidarity with us. Please look at yourself in a mirror, I ask you. Then you will understand. Why is it that Bangladesh and Afghanistan were the first countries to say they won't attend the SAARC summit? It was not India. It was Bangladesh and Afghanistan. So you should ask yourself why you're being moved out of South Asia. Why is it? No, just a minute. Why is it? Ask yourself, why is it that the US tells us quite openly and says so openly that you're fomenting terrorism in Afghanistan and India? Not us. It is your American allies. आप तो NATO के ally थे. No, let me answer. Why is it that Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, so I mean, all I ask you is, as I said, I have many friends. The basic problem I'll tell you in your country. You have an elected government which has constitutional authority but no power, an army which is not elected, which has power but no constitutional authority. And everybody in the world says, this is your problem.
Is now taking place. Last word to Dr. Seshadri Chari. We are running out of time. Last word to Dr. Seshadri Chari. Dr. Seshadri Chari, with the change in the army chief, Rahil Sharif goes out, a new chief comes in. Will the situation change in Pakistan?
That's the reality.
With Bangladesh and Afghanistan, that's why you are imposing your policy through this.
Navika, I have been very patiently hearing to our Pakistani guests.
You are insulting Afghans and Bangladeshis.
Navika,
by saying
absolutely. Dr. Seshadri Chari making his concluding remarks. Yes,
Navika,
Dr. Seshadri Chari.
Navika, I have been very patiently hearing to our Pakistani guests. As Maroof said, I expected a slightly different narrative. But very unfortunately, a country cannot convey its characteristics only through the army. But that is what Pakistan has always been doing. But unfortunately, the guests that we have today, and also we have had guests even before, if they are also decided to live in a fool's paradise, that they are absolutely right and India is all wrong, I think India will have to stop dealing with this kind of people in Islamabad who are a minority, and we may be forced to deal directly with the people in Balochistan. We will have to deal directly with people in Sindh, and we will have to start directly dealing with those people and make it a state policy, because they are the real sufferers. Number one. Number two, please, if you think this is not enough, let me tell you, the problem that India is facing today is from across the LOC. The problem that we are facing today is from across the LOC. So I think we will have to change the LOC also.
India is not interfering in Pakistani affairs. In fact, the narrative is completely different. You say India is fomenting trouble in your backyard. The world is actually telling you that it is your backyard that you need to look at, because it is the export of terror from the state of Pakistan that is a concern to the world. The United States, the French, the United Kingdom and several other countries, including Russia, have said that Pakistan needs to look at its own backyard, needs to look at the entire concept of terrorism that is being perpetrated from the Pakistani soil. Will Pakistan ever open its eyes and look at the problems in its own backyard? That's the big question. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on debate number 2 here on Times Now.